Alright, so from day one, from the first time that I started talking to officers about the abuse, about the things that happened, these are all mandatory reporters. Something you might not know, Miss Jerry up in Montana is also a mandatory reporter. That's why when Sally Treon's daughter was dragged through the house and kicked in the face, I let Miss Jerry know. The problem is that none of the mandatory reporters in my case did any mandatory reporting. None of them. Not Jeff Ritter, not Kara Heller. They should have mandatorily reported the abuse that I spoke with them about. But they didn't. They're not the only ones. Every single police officer that I spoke with and was trying to explain what was going on mandatorily had an obligation to report that. Instead, they omitted that information from their reports. Those body cameras need to be requisitioned, but the problem is that I am disabled, all right? I am overwhelmed at all points in time. I don't have the resources to do all the things people want me to do. That's the problem, is that people keep rubbing it in my face that I'm taking people's money. I should have my disability. I haven't had a single dollar of my disability since Natalie disappeared. Every penny of it has gone to the courts. That's why I was so desperate to get help. So desperate for people to go in with me in person so I had a witness. People like Miss Peaches who said that she would, and when we finally got the day that we could, she couldn't because she had her son with her. And the Secret Service didn't do their job. And the FBI didn't do their job. These are mandatory reporters as well. Amanda Jonas is a mandatory reporter. All of those officers were mandatory reporters, and every nurse in that hospital, including the security guards, are mandatory reporters. Every one of them stood in the way of me in making a report. All of the jail guards as well. They are all mandatory reporters who are refusing to. But you know what? You're trying to report against their buddies. So what reason would they have to come forward? Lisette Brown, she's a mandatory reporter, sure, but she didn't. Now, did she? My public pretenders, everything that they did fucked me. How is it that these people have jobs? Do you know why they do that to homeless people? Because it gets you off their docket. It gets you off their slate. It moves them on to the next person who is just a fucking number. They don't care that your rights were violated. Literally, in all of my cases, my own public pretenders refused to requisition the evidence that proves that I was defending myself. They refused to even try. I told them where the evidence was that proves that I'm innocent, that I was defending myself, and they wouldn't even try. 2 of my appointments that were supposed to be with my first public pretender in the assault in Clearview, she didn't even show up to. Well, she didn't show up to more than 2 appointments, but there were 2 appointments where it was somebody else entirely. And that person isn't my public pretender. And that person is telling me that they can't look at the evidence that I've brought to them every fucking time. I want you to imagine that between 6 and 9 times per month, I was paying at least $100 to travel around to go see the courts, the public pretenders, and the public pretenders, investigators. Not once did any of them take a look. Not once. I took it with me everywhere. I took it with me to Clearview and was trying to make a report there. I took it with me to a Vista hospital and I was trying to make a report there. What happened to me? I was tackled to the ground and drugged. At Clearview, I wasn't tackled to the ground and drugged. I was calmly sitting and they let me know that they were gonna drug me and I needed to stay still or they were gonna break the needle off in me. Because of my technical abilities and because of my geographic location for my own safety and the safety of my loved ones, it's pretty goddamn difficult. I need help. Last year, when Natalie disappeared, they should have made reparations for my disability. I needed to be kept safe from the police, goddammit. And so many of you see that shit that's going on in those groups. It's mostly slander and people who weren't there going out of their way to play armchair detective. No! It should have been me and Alicia Bollinger in a goddamn court of law. It should have been me and Natalie Bollinger in a court of law. I was prevented from going to both. I needed help. I was begging for help because I needed help. And I was nice, and I was nice, and I was nice. And I was nice, and you gave me promise after promise after promise. But you never fulfilled that promise. And then the statute of limitations is up, and you treat me like shit for being pissed off that you never kept your goddamn word. The mandatory reporters wouldn't do their fucking jobs, for Christ's sake.